The topic. We're gonna come up with a topic. We're gonna come up with a topic. With a topic. We're gonna come up with a topic. We're gonna come up with a topic. Topic. Topic.
To work or not to work?
To work. We're gonna come up with a topic. Okay.
Another shipment is being dropped near the airfield. Can you get over there quick? The El Salvador guy's got a lot of eyes on that site.
Shit. I failed. Alright, man. Alright, I got an idea. It's like a objectivity that's floating around in my head right now.
Another shipment is being dropped near the airfield. Can you get over there quick? The El Salvador guy's got a lot of eyes on that site.
I think there's like a I think there's an objective thing that people think about. I think when it comes to mystery, like when it comes to being able to create a mystery, and in order to be able to make people see, I guess, a certain injustice or that's the kind of thing that I'm thinking about. Like, I'm thinking about a way to be able to let people know that a certain something is happening. That a certain thing is going on. I myself, no matter what I'm doing, however I'm doing it, I give as little clues as possible, so people on the internet will elaborate. So people that are shit, where is it? There it is. Yeah.
Pick up successful.
Woo. So, so there are, there are certain reasons why people themselves lack the effort of giving you clues in the market or the media. There are, I'm not saying that it's a tactic, I guess, but it's more over something in their repertoire that they can like sculpt the minds of young viewers to be able to make them scream out in terror when something terrible happens because of a specific situation. What I think people don't understand what I really think people don't really get is I don't want to say it sometimes because I think that it'll marginalize. You know what? I don't get any viewers, but it doesn't matter. I think that there are a lot of good things that certain organizations have done for our government. Certain organizations, not namely the NRA or anything like that, but not namely the NRA, but there are certain organizations that have guns, that have done good, that have made sure that that people themselves don't run out of ammo whenever they're fighting a resistance of people who are killing babies. Yeah, that's the point. Is the military, U.S. military, doesn't kill babies. They stop baby killers. Stop a lot of baby killers. A lot of fucked up individuals that wanna do something terrible to a marketplace just to prove that they're to strut their weight around. So you have to realize and understand that there's like there's certain situations that you don't just call BS on. There are certain things that you bring, oh my god, you bring so much to the table as far as a young person, and when you act like there's nothing there, or there's like some sort of like injustice when $1.7 million is being siphoned off into another account to be able to, say, get guns to police officers, to be able, or certain vests, certain new vests to be able to protect police officers because of some people's protests, and that protest itself is causing a certain variable amount of violence. A certain number of people who are getting what's the word, shot at because they protect people every day. And granted, there aren't what's the word, there aren't a lot of people who in other countries that care about a certain number of people who are actually making those protests. Every single protest, mind you, in other countries wind up in riots. At least 75% of all protests. %75 of most protests in other countries wind up in riots. It's really hard to say sometimes that shit's happening on other countries on levels that people don't understand. And it's the fact that there's no free speech. There is a government-run news program because they believe they are the word of mouth. They are the thing. They are the fact runners, the fact checkers, the fact everything. They themselves find it. So
That's another hit.
Great, man. That was your last buyer. You can head on back.
know that there are certain things people don't understand as far as a place to be able to speak freely and say what they really want, to get on the news, to say something they really, really need, to realize that shit happens, but there's a very quick response time most of the time. And there are also other news companies that actually do cover the right kind of stories to be able to make sure that everyone has a voice. What everyone really needs to start living is their own lives. What everyone really has to start understanding is the fact that you can't come up with certain arguments and not be scrutinized. Because that's not the way of the world anymore. The way of the world now is, if we can get something happening and something going for someone to be able to have something better for themselves, then that's good. If people have a problem with it in some ways, then that's okay, because they can have a problem with it, because that's what America is all about. People can have problems with things. It's good to talk about your problems. Shit. I gotta taxi this in, and I'm not doing a fuck up job. Yeah. Woo. There's a big number of people who say that they're about something. Who say that they're about actual, either liberalistic or conservative views, when in actuality they're just not. What they say and what they're doing is completely and utterly different. And no matter who you talk about or who you're referring to, it's like InfoWars. I watched a few episodes of that, not huge into it. And also I watched the special that that John Oliver did. And I realized that though there is an emergency that they're definitely trying to convey to you, and they're not always using that emergency to sell you something.
How did you not see me?
Stop acting like you're somebody, asshole. Oh, my sweet Jesus!
They're not always using that to try to sell you something, but to tell you that more often than not, they're doing that to be able to sell you something. And granted, they have to maintain a certain thing, a certain ability of market space, I guess. And realize that there is an invariable market space for people who are willingly marketable or being marketed to, no matter what kind of emergency they're trying to convey. It could be the tone that they're actually using. No matter what they're trying to sell you or not sell you. I was like, some people use the nonchalant thing. I just grinded on top of that thing. That was tight. Some people use the nonchalant approach. Just like, people will find their way to my thing because of my content, because of the way that I portray myself. But I don't think people really need to understand that. People really need to start understanding that everyone sells something. Everyone sells something. Everyone. Every single independent or dependent company at all Every single company sells something. Every single company that you see out there sells something that somebody might need. That's something that somebody might want.
What was that?
It sells something that someone might get to. And this is the reason why. It's because it costs money to be able to make sure that people can get content on time. It's the reason why they'll put ads on every single thing. Everyone is trying to sell you something. If they're trying to sell you an idea, eventually they'll try to sell you a t-shirt. One that says something about how they believe in themselves or how they want to believe in themselves. But they're going to sell you something invariably. Every single time. No matter who they are. No one is going to give you an absolutely free idea. It's like even the thing that I use to be able to get this on, they're paid by the internet companies and internet servicers to keep this going. They're seeing money, I'm not. Doesn't matter, somebody's getting paid still. It is not a free idea. There is no such thing as a free idea anymore. I'm not saying it's the death of a free idea, but I'm saying that it's probably the very much deserved rest of a free idea. These are the reasons why our markets have changed. To be able to market themselves whatever idea they feel like having. Because people themselves think that ideas are marketable, but they're marketable only in their own mind at first. They're marketable because blah, blah, blah. They're marketable because they believe they're marketable. Okay? Not because of anybody thinking that they're marketable. And then within that thought, you could also say that there are people that believe that their thoughts are better than other people's thoughts. That their actions are better than other people's actions. But understandably so, that's the reason why they're so marketable, is because people believe in them and people have a reputation with them so constantly and so frequently. So, seeing into what people see and what people believe and what people know as the truth or not the truth, there is also, I'd say, an element of danger. An element of seeking the truth or telling the truth or saying someone's truth or someone's without truth. Without truth meaning if someone has the idea but it is contrary to what your truth is, to what your idea is. That idea could be based on any education or lack of education. Therein lies the danger. Contrary or contradictory ideas. When people themselves shoot contradictory ideas into your space. When people themselves push ideas that are on the contrary to what you believe. or to what anyone else believes. Now, having these contradictory ideas are just one in many ways, seen as the idea that, that contradicts the following. Your idea that you've said, your idea that you've made, that you've, like, what's the word, that you've fermented, I guess, or aged, I guess, within your own mind. And if anyone comes up with any contradictory ideas to that idea before you utter your statement, or even after you utter your statement, you yourself are set astray, I guess, or led astray. Within that idea, you think that you, and within that idea, what were you trying to do? Were you trying to incite a change in idea structure? Did you think that it would somehow spark a mind blow of epic proportions, and people themselves would start to think in a different way because of your presentation? Do you think that people themselves find their ideas, or find your ideas compelling because of your presentation, or your slogans? Because you can have slogans all day, but your idea could not be and should not be meritable because of the facts that people don't understand. Whenever there's a certain invariable change inside of a marketplace, people themselves find markets for many things. Lots and lots of guns, lots and lots of stuff. The guns have to come from somewhere. Those guns have to fire because people themselves are what? Destroying things, and that's not marketable. I saw one time through the scope of a Live Leaks thing before it got shut down and turned into other different things. I saw a protest, and a man who was protesting killed a young boy with a pole through the face. That boy was not protesting, nor was he doing anything. He was just standing on the sideline, doing absolutely nothing but watching. That's what happens when things go awry. When people themselves don't care about the life that's around them. It's what happens when things become so unmarketable and unsustainable that people themselves find it their last-ditch effort to just do whatever the fuck they want to. It's like that question, in a plane crash. If you're in a plane crash and you're about to hit, or you know that it's gonna hit, which is invariably untrue because you don't know that any plane crash or plane or terrorist attack, I guess. You're in a terrorist attack, okay? And that terrorist attack is happening right in front of you. You know that terrorist attack will succeed. How do you know that terrorist attack will succeed? Because you can't do anything about it because you're frozen. For what invariable reason? Basically shock. You know that terrorist attack will be able to happen because you've seen it all happen before in some dream or some thing, or in some fear or some unbelievable thought that you thought about since you were young or anything like that. Oh shit, god damn it. Oh, you son of a bitch. You don't know all of those facts, But in this proverb or in this story, you do. Okay? What do you do in your last moments? What do you say in your last moments that makes that moment itself worth living with, or worth living for, or worth living at all? That in itself is the biggest catch-22 question there ever was, because you don't know that that thing will actually succeed, because you are more than that person. You are more than that one guy with a gun. You are more than that one dude who is standing there with a gun. You, as in you and your constituents, you and your passengers, are more than that guy who's standing there with a box cutter. The most that could happen is those guys get a gash. So what do you do? Invariably knowing that situation could be stopped. That's another catch-22 question. Because that's only invariably thinking that you would ever get on a plane that you thought itself would be a terrorist attack, or a feeling you had. Would you be consumed by your fear before you ever even walked on the plane? That's the question that people have to ask themselves every single day. And through no fault of anyone, through no fault of anyone who really didn't have the gun, or didn't have the box cutter, or didn't have the thing, people have to understand that those situations are what people invariably not need, but think about every day. They think about all of those things. It's the reason why people don't talk to each other. It's the reason why people don't trade information or like-mindedness or anything like that. And that happens worldwide. More than anything, people really have to learn to communicate. People have to learn how to make sure that they themselves don't fall victim to someone who feels as though it's their right or their need or their want to be able to be or to be able to seem I'm gonna hit that tree or to be able to seem like they're antisocial, or to be able, it's everyone's privilege to be able to be together and to be able to make sure that we ourselves, we as a community, as a society, can talk it out before any of this shit happens, and not to push anyone down, not to take anyone for granted or say that, oh, that's just that person. No, that person has problems and that person needs to seek counseling. Or that person needs to be able to seek us, or to seek people who would be a soundboard to them. And then through that, people can help each other. No matter if anyone is helped just beknownst to that one person, or to a bunch of people. What people really need to understand and start understanding is that the community that you need to share is the community of not faith, but The reality of what we need to start experiencing as people is the fact that there are real reasons. Oh shit. There are real reasons. There are real reasons why we need to start sharing with other people. There are real reasons why we need to make sure that I need to go to speech class probably. God dang it. There are real reasons why people themselves. No, I don't have to go to speech class. I can just. There are real reasons why people themselves need to start communicating with one another. I mean, we really need to start making a difference in our communities as to what we do and how we do it. If we would just talk to each other and say hi, or just even wave, maybe we could feel better every day, or to be able to feel a little bit more comforted, or a little bit more comfortable. And in situations that arise, if ever, because when is not an eventuality. If is always changing. But when is not an eventuality. If it ever comes to those situations, the situations where we ourselves need to act in a certain fashion, or be quiet, or stay quiet, or be afraid, or be prepared. No matter if we know the facts or not, the fact is we have to know ourselves. The fact is, we have to get to know who we are as people. We have to get to know ourselves. We have to get to know what we do in certain situations, and what reflexes and what emotions we put towards anything that we're doing. Not to say that those reflexes ever have to come about, or those things ever have to be used, but it's a certain part of ourselves that we're denying. And I'm not saying that there's any sort of inference of any kind at all. What people really have to understand, and what people really have to know, is there's a really big difference between knowing all the facts and knowing yourself and acting appropriately in an emergency. Because in an emergency, you don't know the facts. As a matter of fact, in any situation that happens or goes awry because of facts less known, or facts less known, or not facts less known, or any inference or any truth that has been covered it's covered to the naked eye, or veiled, I guess. What you have to know and you have to understand is that keep yourself safe. Don't try to use yourself as a body shield. I say that there are people who have not known the facts, but didn't know themselves well enough to be able to realize that they themselves are not impervious. And to be able to save their lives, to be able to save that person's life. That person who knowingly puts themselves in danger when they know they can't survive through it. That kind of behavior I cannot myself condone. And I cannot praise. I will not put it down, but I cannot praise it. Be safe. Don't make yourself a martyr. If ever there is a situation where there is something around you, realize that AR-15s are only about 75% accurate in any given direction. After medium thing, and if they're close, if you change your direction immediately, or if you run in a certain direction in a zigzag formation, they won't be able to shoot you. They won't be able to shoot you if only you're athletic enough. Don't be suicidal. Don't stand in front of a direct. No matter what the facts are, no matter what the things that you see are, no matter what kind of situation you're in, realize that there are certain situations that you should plan for, and there are certain situations that you plan to die for. And choose never the latter. Never choose the latter situation, because you'll never come out of it alive. Realize that this game itself is made for, what's the word? Spectacularness. Every single thing that you're doing on this video game is made to make you look, make you sound, and make you act like you are the best at what you do. In this situation, every part of this road that I'm driving on is completely and utterly paved to the T, so where that it insinuates that every part of the city is perfect. And within itself, I would be spinning out constantly if I was ever to go that fast on a regular street road, because of the amount of cars that go down it. The amount of rough and friction and different things that actually happen to it, I would be spinning out of control. There is in no way, and on these country roads with a whole bunch of dirt, there would be no way that I'd be able to go as fast as I can go on a motorcycle in this game. But I'd be recreate it on an entire pavement scale, 1-to-1, or if there was any dirt on the road, I would spin out constantly on those four-wheelers or on that motorcycle that I usually pick in my cheat code. These are the reasons why there are inconsistencies. I know it has nothing to do with people's responsibility. It has everything to do with It has everything to do with the It has everything to do with the realization yeah, it's annoying. Anyways, I'd never be able to jump this. Ever. I'd never be able to jump this. I'd never be able to go underneath this and that, and jump that, and do a whole bunch of different stunts and stupid stuff. This right here would make me spin out of control. Like, if I turned, like on this, right here. This would make me spin out completely out of control. This right here, doing this. Like doing this thing. Doing this little thing right here would make me completely and utterly spin out of control because of the amount of dirt that's on the ground, because of the amount of pull that's on every single part of the torque of the engine. I have a reality. I am in a reality. I am playing a video game. I myself do not associate this reality with this video game that I'm constantly playing. It's the reason why I usually don't play in first person, because I find it a little bit vulgar sometimes. I find it a little bit vulgar. And also, my little brother has played it, but only to mess with me on certain situations. He's played in first person. It's funny, but only because I realized that I still don't, even though that it's not that it's in first person, I still don't associate the game with any human violence, because that wouldn't happen in real life situation. This wouldn't happen in a real life situation. I would be able to maintain control with an abrupt 45 angle degree curve. I would not be able to maintain control, nor would I be able to do any of this stuff. I don't associate this video game with any sort of violence. And I wouldn't be able to control a sniper rifle with the accuracy, nor the pinpoint anything as I would. And that's the reason why you need to understand that the AR-15 itself would be...
That was close.
Although my reflexes are sharp, my finger reflexes, I can make a mean freaking calzone or something. I can flip a knife and then hurt myself because I'm not that accurate all the time. A kitchen knife, because kitchen knives aren't that considered weapons unless you walk around with them. Outside. And also, you wouldn't be able to run on these tracks. I would not be able to go on these tracks and have the stability that I have right now. Ever. I would not be able to run on these tracks at all. I wouldn't be able to go on this track and try to. Yeah, I'd run into that tree right there, or I'd run into any obstacle. I'd probably go off like this because it would ruin my tires. First of all, I wouldn't be able to backflip as easily as I do because I wouldn't be able to maintain the same constant. I wouldn't be able to maintain the same constant flow of motion. I do this because it is that unrealistic. I like this game because it is unbelievably unrealistic. Because there is in no way, shape, or form that this many vehicles and this many goods could actually be shipped to an entire island. Do you know how many cars exist on the on Hawaii? I don't know. There's never that big of a number. There's not that many stars in the sky when those lights are on right there. There is in no way a military base that would ever put itself ever in this situation. There is in no way a military base that would ever allow itself to be on the top of a hill in the middle of a freeway. They would never do that. They're not fucking stupid. Because there'd be so much public transit, it'd be a lot easier for people who wanted to attack them to attack them. It's fucking dumb. That's the reason why I don't associate this game or any game with real life. Because they make it to where it has inconsistencies. Not so they can have responsibility or anything like that, or not responsibility, or remain anonymous. It's to be able to realize and make people who are completely and utterly consumed by it realize how different it is from actual reality. That's perfect. From any conceivable reality outside of that video, of this video game. To also realize that there would not be copters headed, and I cannot get there is no person in the history of jets that is able to make that jet fly in like 2 seconds.
What is location? Over.
The person at the military base, if there was a military base, so put on top of a freeway. We're gonna do some night flights. We're gonna calm ourselves down because it doesn't matter. It's not an omission of fact or a realization of fact to realize that there is in no way what I would be able to do. I would not be able to fly this jet so close to the ground because of literally the sonic boom. I would not be able to fly this jet, or even if I got it started flying, I would never be able to make this jet go around these buildings because of the literal sonic boom that would happen every single time I would go close to something. It would shatter anything visible. I would not even be able to make this jet fly in certain areas because of the actual wind resistance. Like this. There's in no way any of these things would be able to happen. I would not be able to fly around these buildings and then through these buildings. I would never be able to do this. Well, I mean that's highly improbable, but not completely impossible. There are also jets that themselves are lightweight and made for stunts. That's the reason why you'll see like the Blue Angels and stuff like that. They like to do a bunch of stuff, but their stuff is a lot more wiry. Their jets are a lot more made for stunts. And it dies. Also, there is no way in which the military wouldn't send out actual F-16s to come and frickin' shoot me out of the sky if I ever went anywhere that close to LA. ever, in any plane, in a fucking prop plane, in a goddamn duster, in a freaking, a little tiny, fucking tiny, in a, they wouldn't shoot me out of the sky if I was in a balloon plane, or like a hot air balloon, but they definitely tell me to leave, or tell me to like put it down, to be able to put it down, and then they'd arrest me for going in non-airspace or something like that. Realize that this never happened. There is no way this much of a commodity, there is no way any of this could ever happen, because this is not any state or country that has ever existed ever on the planet Earth. There's no way any of this could ever exist on planet Earth. If it does, then it has a direct feed or line to absolutely every country that has ever existed ever. To be able to fix and clean up any single mess, and almost invariably in an instant, that has ever existed, ever. It's like there are certain time periods into which this. Hold on, let me get this sniper. I'd never be able to do this. I'd never be able to zoom in this easily. I'd never be able to catch a moving target because of the fact of bullet drag. There is no thing could be without unbelievable amounts of practice. And that's the reason why people need to understand that it was an independent case. Because something happened, people themselves try to start a war. They try to start a war, and they don't understand that they don't have an army. That is the fact that no one else is acknowledging. They themselves are trying to start a war individually. People themselves who are stupid and think that they can rule the world, or can rule the world through any sort of thing, because of what they learned through a video game, what they saw on Cooking Mama 2 minutes ago. It is also the reasons why they do that, because those people themselves who don't seek to get mental adjudication or mental health, who don't seek mental health, it's the reason why they themselves don't or aren't able to keep or stay going. It's people who they themselves think that their world around them revolves immediately and irrevocably around themselves, because they themselves had too much confidence when they had lack of knowledge. That confidence in self can turn into delusion when met with adversity, if they don't have mental health. Adversity or trauma. Realize that trauma itself plays a huge role. I would not say it's a stone's throw away that that kid himself had been abused by either his guardian or guardians.
Lucky miss.
But also that says a lot about the school's not only are there emergency situations, but their way that they discipline their students. Be helpful. Help change. And if you can't change the person and you have to let them go, make sure they get to a better school. There has to be some sort of program to where kids that get expelled from different schools can get into another school easily. Or easily to where they are known that they were expelled by the constant people and they're watched. These situations have to happen for students and the people around them to keep every single person safe. There has to be not only just more security, but there has to be a situation to where people themselves aren't being completely and utterly ousted just because they have a problem. They have to be comforted, and they have to be made sure that they have to make sure that they themselves feel accepted in some ways, because sometimes it's the only thing that they have. And it has to make sure that every single school, no matter public or private, checks the home life of every single student. The absolute home life, because there are so many kids out there that are being abused that could be potential threats to anyone's education or even life. Realize that there has to be some sort of change, not only within our own lives or within our own president or within our own things, but there has to be change within ourselves to make us see that it's somewhat our fault. That we have to take responsibility and not blame it on some dude who's in an office writing down paperwork like it's his job all the time. It's our country. Every single part of this place belongs to us. He stays in office for 8 years. That's it. No matter how long he stays in office. He doesn't have that much power. No matter how much money he has, he can't throw money at it and solve it. It has to be done with care, and it has to be taken when people realize that there's more to life than just a good motto or a good thing or a good marketing scheme. There has to be care. And it's un-American to think that it's just someone's fault, or it's just that person's fault, or it's just these people's fault who keep making these things. It's not their fault. Care. Care about your students. Care about your teachers. Because you don't know what kind of life they're having at home. And in more so, be protective of your life. And be safe. And realize if there is ever a problem, or if there ever is a behavioral student getting expelled, and there is no one checking on that life, or that sound mind and body person who is like, this student has been expelled. The reason for that is behavioral problems. Why? Why? There's still no evidence or no thing insinuating because he had a behavioral problem. He got expelled because of a reason. The reason itself was because he wasn't comfortable in his own life, or he wasn't comfortable within his own body. That student himself needed to be either comforted, loved, or helped in some way, shape, or form. He didn't get that, and he blamed someone. He blamed someone, and he took his anger out. Realize it. The only reason why I guess I'm not angry within anymore is because I started to realize that I had to take more responsibility for myself. I started to realize that because of my upbringing and the fact that I myself realized that it wasn't the things that I had in my life as far as numbers or collections or anything like that. It was the amount of care that people themselves had around me that I myself should exhume about myself, and the amount of study and the amount of preparation that I myself should be able to have. I'm not angry. I'm disappointed that everyone would go in a direction to be able to blame a certain organization that if you don't put money into it, then no one would. That if you don't keep talking about it, then no one would ever do anything. It's literally a stock price now. That's all that's happening. They're just keeping an economy going. That's all they're doing. No matter what you want to say it is, no matter what you want to think it is, that's all they're doing. They're just trying to stay afloat as far as a company goes. And a child talking about millions of dollars? Don't make them your spokesman. Don't make children your spokesman. Protect your children. And the less you talk about, and the less you have faith in, and the less you elaborate on, the more people will elaborate for you and be completely and utterly mind blown because of your young audience. Whoever you are, realize it. You have a young audience and a responsibility to that young audience to not only protect your young audience, but to be able to inform them. And if you leave details out and you think that your opinion doesn't matter, then what do you have left? I'm gonna make something explode. Because this game isn't real. I'm amazing through this video game.
We got eyes on the target. Moving to engage.
I'm not gonna say anything about appearing out of nowhere, because if there's ability to teleport, then that shit is completely and utterly applicable. I'm saying nothing about it.
60 miles per hour in
Security. Nothing about it. Nothing doing. Gonna wanna know down.
We have a visual. Moving to engage.
And I am not the person to be talking about this, because these are just things that I get angry about. I don't care that much. No, I care a lot, but I get really blown up or in that whole thing, and I talk about a whole bunch of shit that happens, and just things that make me irked, I guess. But just think about it and care and be there for people and realize that you just being there could be the difference between them slipping and falling because they don't care anymore and accepting their fate. You could be the difference. You could be the difference. But don't be the change. Be the difference. And allow the change to happen around you that is good and positive for everyone. But also realize there are people out there that would thwart freedom. And no matter who you are, no matter what you do, no matter how you do it, I'm gonna explode something. Sticky bomb, sticky bomb, sticky bomb, sticky bomb. Wait, hold on. There we go. And that is such bullshneeze. All right. Be yourself. And make sure that you're prepared in situations that call for it. Be prepared. And I really don't like it when teachers take their kids' phones. Because you never know when there's an emergency situation that actually happens. And I really don't think that should happen.
God damn! Moron! Shit, shit, shit! Fuck me! Well, I'll be fucked. Fool, you're a blind fucking fool.
I think you should be there for yourself and realize that just because someone else is... Just because there's... Just because someone else is doing stuff, you shouldn't be doing it. And that has a lot more to do with what's affecting our youth today than what is affecting our one school that happened. Is affecting our youth today is they have a lot of angst. They have a lot of fear. And they have a lot of stuff. And I just found what I'm going to explode. I'm going to throw this stuff. I'm going to see if I can... I'm going to go with... And... We're going to throw it on the bottom. And all right, it went on the inside of the car. Cool. All right, now we're just gonna get a safe distance away. Put our, and also this is not a safe distance for this much explosives. Realize it's not a safe distance because there's shrapnel that can move. That can go so far at you completely. Okay, if I was to do this in real life, to actually set an explosive device. The equivalent of C4 being put on one car could be able to eviscerate it and also make it needle sharp. Only in this thing, and you'd have to set up a camera. Wait, I'm gonna see if I can set up a camera, and I can. That will be a safe distance away. Because that explosion would actually send shrapnel far past those satellites. In an actual real thing. That's what would actually happen. There we go. And since I was the only one prepared for it, that's actually what would happen. Is they would start actually trying to apprehend me. They would immediately start investigating, and they would immediately start doing their job. And it would sound and it would look like they weren't doing anything to be able, or to make people start to want to be confident in a certain area. And that's how they found him. Because there was no other. In Italy, They didn't find people. They didn't find them. The people that massacred that many people. There was an explosion the night before. There will be an investigation 2 minutes afterwards in America. Or 2 minutes prior to the investigation, because of that amount of explosives being used. Realize that someone has to measure it, someone has to write it down, because if it ever comes into question, like these situations, like the AR-15 that was sold by someone who's probably going to get reprimanded afterwards for selling it to a 19-year-old, and those laws are probably going to change. And or a 19-year-old, mind you, that had mental disturbia. Realize it. Realize that people who are actually good at their jobs do their jobs and allow the people who want to speak. But also realize that those people must be protected with the very utmost, complete and utter just... Realize they're not martyrs. They're not people who need to protest constantly, because they are not old enough to protest yet. They're not old enough, because that's what can happen in any situation when you protest and you don't have a permit and you're not in the right place. Because the right place is meant for you not to be seen by an amount of people who would want to hurt you for your opinion. Because there are people that want to exist in this country, that want to exist in this country, and their want to exist changes things, like the FCC doing things to be able to protect children, so that they're not completely and utterly so that their parents themselves know that what they're looking at in another country is funded by another country's government. By the stuff that you see is what you wish we could look at, but realize that sometimes movies don't make that much money across other seas. Realize it. Sometimes people don't always get to see that. Realize it. And from a company, and from a standpoint of which I think and I know for a fact, needs to change, and I know it will change eventually, but I realize that it needed to change from the first standpoint, because people themselves were dying. People are getting murdered everywhere. Everywhere. It sucks. And it sucks a lot. And there's other people and the things that people themselves exhume and create a cause for. So you say people who don't know the facts, or create the facts, or have the facts at all, but people themselves aren't looking at any picture whatsoever. They're looking at the picture they want to look at, and then they're looking at nothing. Or they're just going about their day like it's just nothing, man. People are getting murdered everywhere, and it sucks all the time. And as soon as that stops, then things will get better. And it sucks. And it's un-American to look at one picture and say, this is the way that I believe America should be. Right? Because you shouldn't put your own opinions on an idea that was created to be able to create a sustaining government, to be able to make sure that you yourself can sleep safely at night. You shouldn't put your own opinion on that. You should take your opinion, turn it into what you believe the change is, and then say, this is what I believe the government should change. Because I think that this is an amazing thing. I have people to back me. And before you change your opinion, you get your opinion to change, and this is the reason why it sucks so much right now. Because there are people dying every day, every single day in almost every city, but somehow that shit never makes it to news. It never makes it to a cut, and it never makes it to anything. You know why? Because they don't have enough news stations to actually do it. They don't have enough news stations to actually say how many people have died during that day. They don't have as many news stations to be able to say there are people themselves who set a car on fire not nearly 20 blocks away from me. That story never made it to the news. And that happens in every single city. Every single thing. And every single country has so many accidents. And people themselves are like, hey, if they're going to do that, then they're just the stupid as stuff. And then their power of suggestion. The power of suggestion sometimes is in itself an instigation. There are eventually going to be people who get criminal charges for insinuating that someone themselves is going to die because of a certain fact or certain things, because they themselves don't understand that insinuating that that person is going to die or in any way insinuates that there's going to be something happening in their life that's going to change their lives. It's going to happen, because that's the only way to stop people from trying to kill each other off. Or insinuate some sort of thing and create some sort of drama, because it's annoying as shit, dude. It's so annoying. There's no amount of want or injustice that could ever completely implore you to say, I want to do this. I want to create this whole guise of just me and my things going through crazy times, and then, oh, I'm going to market this product to you and all that other stuff. There's so many people out there that are getting paid so much money to be able to do stuff. I'm going to blow something up. To do so much stuff. And I'm not saying those people are wrong. They want capitalism. They like capitalism. It's cool. But they have to know that they have to reconstitute and recycle that money into the same economy. Or else they won't get it anymore. And also they tried to make a recession in America. Okay, trust me. People who worked in shadow government organizations tried to create... I'm going to tell you about a conspiracy that I don't wholeheartedly believe in, but I think there is some truth to. Okay? There is a conspiracy that there are shadow organizations themselves that don't want to see any government completely and utterly become independent. And it's called the New World Order. Okay? They want people to pay attention to each other, even if they're being controlled by different entities. And this is not... I'm going to get age-gated every single time on this. And I don't really care, because I'm not looking to make money. I'm not looking to do anything or at all. I'm not looking to make advertisements or whatsoever. I'm not looking to do anything. I was looking to talk about my business, and that's what I'm going to talk about. But I'm not going to actually say what it is, because this is the reality of what YouTube has become, at least in my own vision or my own opinion. There is what people would call secret government organizations, or people who look like an organization on the top of something or on the outside, and then do something completely different on the inside. And these government organizations or shadow organizations want the world itself to become an economical growth system forever. Like, they want all the countries themselves to be able to coexist with one another. Okay? It's a good intention. It really is. But that good intention comes with a price. Okay? Acting like there are people who are insensitive to violence, so you incite violence in that system. So once you incite violence in that system, or insinuate that there will be violence, that violence happens, or once that violence happens because of a weak link or someone who is not comfortable with themselves being you basically are a terrorist, whoever you are. And while I'm talking to whoever these terroristic organizations are, that change opinion to be able to say that there's some sort of crazy thing happening all over the world, and there's a whole bunch of different stuff happening, and realize that governments have had to put systems in place and lie to their own people to be able to make sure that these systems don't come about, because people still aren't talking to each other. You need the system of change in order to enact some sort of change. But to force change is to become a terrorist. Just to talk about something is just to talk about something. That enacts the change that changes people's minds. That changes people's minds about violence, the things that happen in schools or functions or communities or even society itself. What people really need to start understanding is you cannot force people to make a change. You cannot force people forcibly, like by force, by unbeknownst to them. You cannot forcibly create change without creating a ripple. And that ripple is seen by people. And once those people see it, you'll find a resistance in your change. You'll find a resistance in your change. It's happened throughout every single movie, throughout every single war, throughout every single thing that's ever happened. Okay? You'll find a ripple, okay? That ripple will resist your change. That resist will become something different, or something that it wants to be, because it doesn't want to be you. It doesn't want to be around you, okay? You'll find that within every single enacting change, there is also a resistance, because the way that someone came about that change was perceived by someone to be wrong. And that's what every single person who forces change will ever know. They will always know resistance. Every single time. Every single person who ever tries to enact change by force or by any sort of means of enacting some sort of ignorance or putting something onto someone who thinks that some sort of enacting change will make them feel like they're more of an institution of learning. Or I'm gonna get this golf cart.
Officers report a 140 on Alhambra Drive.
All right, I'm gonna get this golf cart.
Gotta load my gun!
We'll keep our eyes filled, dispatch.
Suspect is going east.
Suspect northbound on Alhambra Drive in Sandy Shores.
I have to interrupt myself sometimes because I get so wound up. I get so wound up about my opinions, and I really do make sense. And also, these are my game therapy rants, so this is therapy for me. I'm not really trying to enact some sort of change or trying to say anything to anyone, because literally I'm just saying this stuff to myself sometimes. Maybe it'll just make people start to realize that they're not performers if no one's watching them.
We have a visual. Moving in.
That they're helping themselves and they're making themselves feel better. And since I can't afford therapy, because I can't afford it, this is my therapy. This is what I do. These are my game therapy rants. And I don't what's the word? I don't it's a golf cart. I don't act like there's there's some sort of Oh man, people don't understand how stupid they are sometimes.
We have a visual on the target.
And the more they're prepared about things, the more they're actually prepared about people and things coming to their life that are just insane or out of the norm, I guess. Like not out of the norm, but out of the norm, I guess, like basically terroristic out of the norm. Kind of like completely and utterly out of what is normal contact between humans. It's an RV. We're gonna go fucking RVing. It's gonna be great. Yeah, yeah. Oh man, just realize that you don't have to have all the facts to know exactly what to do in a certain situation. All you have to do is know exactly where the person is, know where they are, and communicate. If any kid ever watches this video, or ever, if it's age gated at all, if there are any teenagers out there that are 17 and up, if you are ever in a community office, if you are ever at a job, and you are in an office space,
Suspect westbound in a...
and someone has called 911, and there is someone inside the building who has a gun that is looking to hurt people, communicate with each other. Have each other's phone numbers. Have each other's phone numbers on file. Be able to text back and forth to see where he is, to see how he is. Because if you can't save everyone, you can save enough people, okay? Be aware. It's the reason why people themselves communicate. It's the reason why people need to communicate. Because if everything else fails, if every other part of society fails, and you have to be able to get on your mobile device and be able to have, I really don't like it when teachers take kids' phones. I really don't like it. Doesn't matter if it's a Catholic school or not. I really hate it. I hate it so much. I hate everything about it. I hate everything about teachers taking the phones away from kids. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it so much. I hate it. It makes me angry. I hate it so much. I hate everything about it. I hate everything about teachers taking phones away from kids. Because what if something like that happens and kids don't have their phones and they can't text someone to tell them they're all right, or to tell them that they're not all right and they need emergency assistance? And what if it is a matter of life and death? Those 17 people didn't have to be that 17 people. If those kids knew exactly what to do, exactly how to do it, then how come 17 of them died?
Officers report a reckless driver on Columbia Road.
Yeah. And also, this thing is like very cartoonish.
Be advised, we have a runner.
Roger.
It's not real.
Suspect doing 50 miles per hour on a motocross bike.
Don't be the change. Guide the change. Guide yourself. And if you guide yourself, and if you know a certain exit that no one else knows, that you know that the killer doesn't know, or the person doesn't know who hasn't killed anyone yet, go down it. Escape. Escape, 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 escape. I hate it so much. I hate the fact that they take away kids' phones in school. I hate it. I don't give a shit how much they text. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit how much they text. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care. If I was a teacher, I wouldn't give a shit how much they texted. I don't care if they were texting anyone like a girlfriend or something. Ooh, she's from another school. At least he has his phone. Or she has her phone. And hopefully condoms. I'm gonna get my motorcycle. Okay.
Give me a break.
You cannot act like it'll never happen if you don't prepare for it. It has nothing to do with the person's affiliation to any political party. You have to be prepared. I hate it. I just hate it so much when they take their phones away. I hate it so much. And I'm going to keep on saying it. I'm going to keep on saying it. And I don't care about religion, whatever faith you have, or faith. Okay, whatever. Realize that you have to be prepared. Be prepared. Because shit happens. Don't be paranoid about it. Be ready and emotionally prepared. And I'm not saying that I'm a disciplinary because I can't say anything about what they're going to do or how they're going to do it to make sure the kids are safe and to make sure that they're safe whenever they're not at school too.
Come on, move!
I'm gonna stop talking now. And
Suspect doing 60 miles per hour on my boss Sanchez.
oh, these are my game therapy rants, and I don't know why people should be appalled, but I know that why I'm appalled. I know why I want change. I know why I want to change something.
Suspect in sight.
I'm gonna kill you!
I may not know the facts, but I know what makes me angry. Kids without a way to tell people that they're in danger. No matter what it is. If they're in danger. And when they're in danger. That's what really pisses me off. Thank you for listening if you ever do. And kids not being prepared for that danger if it ever comes around. And also people around them acting like they should be martyrs instead of people that are there for someone. If you're a PE coach, learn how to do some hurdles. Because it'll help you run away from someone who has some seriously demented ideas in mind. And it'll protect our country from further hurt. Be there for each other, and hopefully this never happens again. But if it does, be prepared. Always. And protect yourselves. And have your phone. And don't make fake freaking posts about people beating each other up and stuff like that just so people stay inside. Because every single ounce of trying to hurt someone's feelings makes them have less and less faith in what humanity is. Be there for someone who you think is having troubled thoughts. Be there. And have a good day. And you can be your own one-man metaphorical bomb squad. You can defuse situations before they happen if you have the know-how, and if you have been prepared in situations that call for it. Be there emotionally for people, and be there emotionally for yourself. I am in no way a professional, but I just am saying my own experience, through my own experience, that there have been situations that I have gone through, that if there was an emergency person around, or if there was someone who cared enough with a cell phone, things would have been completely different. Be there for yourself, and be there for people. And if you see someone having and smile. That's it. You don't have to do anything else. Just smile and say hi. I don't know the facts, but I know that it picks me up, so it makes me think about the possibility of ever having a friend that would be that person, or would be another person, and it helps me, myself, decide, no matter if people call themselves introverts or extroverts, or whatever verts they feel like calling themselves that week. Be yourself, because you're more than just what a word is. You're more than just what that is. You're not one-dimensional. Be yourself. And no matter what kind of things people believe you are, you know what you are. And don't give in to it. Don't give in to what people believe you are. Ever. If it's negative. If it's positive, then understand and accept it. Because if they really love you, if they really want to be around you, if they really care, then they will. And if they don't, there are plenty of other fish in the sea. There are plenty of other friends that you can be around. There are plenty of other people in this world that will help you. People in this country that will help you as well. Realize that there are people out there in other countries that don't have anything to be able to protect themselves from people. They don't have networks like we have networks. They don't have radio towers and certain things to be able to make sure that people have cell phone signals so that they can say that when they're in danger, how they're in danger, and the way they're in danger. And I'm afraid that people aren't going to start paying attention until they already enacted something that's going to stop them from ever being a part of what this country's about. But that's my fear, and I just shouldn't believe that it's anyone else's. Thank you for listening, and these are my game. I'm gonna fucking. There is no way you could ever hold a Gatling gun like this and expect no recoil. There is no way you could ever do this unless it actually just held 22 bullets, and even in that, And that, my friends, is a circle. There is in no way if you can never stand in a circle and no, there's never a freaking it's never. You can never do that. You can never do that. No matter how strong you are. No matter if you're a freaking in Predator, that was not realistic. That dude who had the thing it was not realistic. There is in no way how you can hold a certain minigun. It would have to be on a stand every single time. Because not only would it just keep pushing down, it would keep pushing up. So it would just, you'd basically be shooting the ground and then eventually probably shoot yourself. No matter how strong you are. Even if you took steroids, which is really stupid and I don't recommend ever taking steroids because it's dumb. Because as soon as they wear off, your muscles turn to water. And also your balls turn to tiny little baby balls. Oh, man. Oh man, just be careful. Because if there's any reality to what people themselves understand or think, if there's any reality to what people themselves say every day to themselves, then change can happen and people themselves can stop pushing on a society itself that doesn't deserve it. And also, I'm gonna change characters. I'm at 1 minute 43 minutes 23 seconds. I am literally gonna milk this for all I can because I do not want them to break up as people. I don't want them to break up. I don't want them to stop being friends with each other. I will never give up on them. Who can it be now? Doo-doo-dee.
Hey, take it easy, will you?
Shit, baby, I am so messed up.
You look so effing hot. I wanna hump you right now. Hey, you! Buddy! Can you do us a massive favor? It's the little lady's birthday and we are really fucked up. Can you drive us back to our motel? Our car's right there. It'll take you like 5 minutes tops.
Yeah, you two should not be driving. I'll give you a ride.
You're a legend, bro. We'll get in the back, out of your way. Baby, don't breathe whiskey on the nice man.
Wow, that's cool.
Where am I taking you?
We staying at the Hotel Southwest from here. Thank you so much.
You have, like, the best tits in the whole world. If I didn't have to work for a living, I would just play with them all day.
Oh, you so bad. Oh, that tickles. Abby.
Yeah, you like that? Just wait till we get back to the motel. I'm gonna get medieval on those puppies.
Oh, God, you know what that does to me?
Shift that sweet little ass over here. Let the wolf see the rabbit.
You smell like cigarette and buffalo wings. It's making me so horny.
You smell like cigarette and buffalo wings. There are people out there that are actually turned on by specific smells. They're only turned on by the specific smells because of what they experienced when they were younger, sometimes. Or they're only turned on by the specific smell because it's something out of the norm.
Whoa! What the hell? Hey, just keep it in your pants till we get there, Tiger. I don't want to see that shit.
Wait, stop, honey. The guy's getting pissed off.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, dude. Forgot I wasn't in a cab. Didn't I tell you this would be the best birthday ever?
Also, people put
Sleepy.
Yeah, you save your energy for the motel room. $40 a night, we're gonna get our money's worth.
Thank you. You're like the best.
We've got a little unfinished business to attend to.
Whoa. Just a little too much DNA in there.
$40, yay! I'm gonna buy this motel. Can I buy the motel? I'm gonna buy something. It's for sale, yeah! Gas station! Only Franklin can purchase property? That's bullshit, man. Whatever, man. I'm gonna go be Franklin. I'm gonna come back to this place. Okay, I know where it is now. Yes, I do. That I do. I'm gonna do pickup. I'm gonna...
Hey man, where's the job? Call me back, son.
Yeah? Yeah, I'm done.
Ian, only inches. Get the fuck out.
This seems a bit shady. It drives to the van to the shop.
Look out!
And turn that off. There is a there's a big way to believe in yourself. It's a big place in this world for you to be able to believe in yourself. And there's a big I'd say there's a big reason for you to believe in yourself too. Son of a bitch.
Oh, me!
Alright, so. And I've also found that there's a lot of reasons to be able to want to believe in yourself, and that want needs to be not overridden by your imagination. And
Hey! Hi!
39, 38, 37, 6, 35, 34, 33, 32, 31, 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One. God damn it.
Watch out, fool!
Are you fucking kidding me? Oh, fake glaucoma prescriptions. Whatever. I don't feel that bad. I actually don't feel bad at all because they're fake, so. I really think and believe in the power of the individual, and the power of the individual makes up the power that is this great nation. And the people that tried to make this country look like it didn't deserve to exist, to me, they don't deserve a chance. But if that ever changes, if they ever prove themselves, or if they ever act in an appropriate thing, or act logically, and god damn it, if they assume to act logically, if they try to act logically, they might deserve a chance. But only after years and years of deliberation. Because to me, the reason why we formed a nation at all, the reason why we quarreled with ourselves over what was deserved and what was not, was to be able to be united one day. And to be able to be united under the reasons of liberty, justice, and freedom for all. I still believe in that, no matter if anyone believed in it before me or not. And I think that that in itself sets an example. And I think we have to set an example to be more safe and more diligent with our safety. And with our carefulness and our considerateness sometimes. Because there are things and people that think that they own the world. And we have to prove them wrong. Because the world started off as an idea, and that idea gained motion. And then as that idea gained motion, it had mass. And once that idea gained mass, that idea gained more motion. That thing, that energy itself gained more motion. And within itself grew life. It had freedom. And that is the freedom that I think and I wish that America deserves today. And myself deserve. And also know that there are so many different chaoses and so many different troubling things that people themselves think that they have. And people themselves think that they run. Be yourself. Because you deserve it. Thank you for listening, and these are my game therapy rants.